Don't get me wrong, I love models, I love using QGIS, I love using ArcGIS, so I love using GIS software, but there is nothing quite like using Spatial SQL to solve problems in my mind. Well, an example I'm going to show you is how we can create a model with Postgres, or at least solve a similar problem. So in this case, what I want to do is clip the parcels that are in the Cascadilla Creek watershed that are at risk for flooding and sum up the land values in that area and also sum up their area. That's why we need to actually perform the clip and not a selection. So this is sort of the model that we went through. Was we took our parcels, we took our watersheds. The first thing we did was we selected by an attribute to get Cascadilla Creek. Then we performed a clip function in the GIS with the watershed, and then we also clipped the parcels with the flood zones. And then from there, we created a statistical summary of those results to give us a final layer. That was pretty cool, and you can actually watch that video for free online if you'd like. I have it as part of one of the videos that are available to view for free in my QGIS course. So at least we can do it, and that's a cool thing. But let me show you how we would do this in Spatial SQL. Now this is just going to take a minute to explain. Let me just copy this, and I'm going to paste it into our query here in pgadmin 4. Let's make it a little bit bigger. And again, I'm not going to step through it like I've done in the past. I think we're kind of getting beyond that now. This first query in here is getting the intersection between the watersheds and the parcels where the watershed name or the watershed is Cascadilla Creek. Now, I'm also performing this ST transform for a very specific reason. The watersheds are in a different coordinate system. And again, I'm not going to take up time now to explore that. We've already seen some of this already. So on the fly, I am converting the watersheds into the same SRID that the parcels are in. So that's going to be called T as a table. Now from there, I'm going to intersect that geometry, t.geom, with the flood zones. And that's this part of the query. So I'm selecting it from the flood zones and this pseudo table, which we just created in memory. So that's going to get me the intersection. But the other thing I need, of course, is the actual area that I asked for. And I ran that, and this is what I got below. We'll just take a look at it. And these are the parcels that fell into that category. Now, we're not quite done because there's a couple of other things that we needed to do. And one was to grab the assessment value, if you remember. So I'm going to just say ASMT. So that's going to get me the assessment value. And I'm also going to grab the assessment value there as well. And remember, we also are going to need the prop class. And we'll also bring in prop class. See how easy this is? We just grab each of the data sets from there, and then I'm going to get rid of the geometries. I don't really need those anymore. That was just kind of for fun to see that. And I can also say sum of the ASMT and the prop class. And we're going to get the sum of the area. There we go. And then come down below and type our group by. And we've done this a whole bunch of times. And we're going to group it by prop class. So let's run this. And that's completed. And if we look here, our messages, that took 21 seconds to run. You can see the sum of the, I should have just called that, as ASMT, but we won't bother with that. But you've got the sum here, and you've got the property class and the area, and that area is based upon what was clipped together. Now, don't get me wrong, I love the models, but you can see why I'm really passionate about using Spatial SQL because of the flexibility that we see. And again, we can just change Cascadilla to Fall Creek or anything else like that. So it becomes a very easy way to manipulate the data. And going back to what we said very early on, as we walk through this, you can see it is very logical what we've done. So it doesn't take too long. In fact, just in a matter of minutes, we put this together. So I think it's a lot easier than models, even though I like models, but hopefully you can see the benefit of using Spatial SQL in order to create more sophisticated solutions.